Good morning, beautiful people. Did I a slight angle that's going to annoy me? No, it's worse now. I shouldn't have touched it. I don't want you to think I live in a house that's on an angle, even though it slightly is because it's on stilts. Hey, Scout. Hi, Miss K. Hey, Yep, so what? Oh, you've got a little visitor. You'll be back, Yep, so what? This may be a very short live because I am actually just waiting for my water to be delivered. I have a house where we live on tank water, so occasionally, this is like the 6th time in 8.5 years, you have to get your water tank topped up. So the live could end very quickly. This could be a part 1. I'll come back with part 2 when I can. But great to see you, Groovers, in here, and beautiful Sunny's walking past me as we speak. Scout. You're going to let everyone see you? Nope, she's right behind my chair. Oh, hang on. Quick, gratuitous Sunny shot. Surprise, surprise. She's on her ottoman. Before I kick off, I'm sorry, too. I'm in beach attire. It's a lovely warm day here. I'm going to be going to the beach after this. But I just wanted to do a quick live because YouTube is lit again with misinformation that this time has stemmed from mainstream media. I'm going to call them that because they're very mainstream as far as I'm concerned, in the US on their reporting of the Idaho murders. And once again, a heap of YouTubers have jumped onto it and gone live, crapping on about this conflict of interest that Ann Taylor, who's defending Brian Kohberger, also represented Cara Knodel, also known as Cara Northington, one of the Idaho murder victims, Xana Knodel. And it's not true. There is no conflict. And I don't get this. I don't get it. There will literally be, I reckon, if I'm lucky, 10 people will join this live. And I'm a public defender. I'm talking about stuff I know. But out in the YouTube sphere, heaps of channels are live with hundreds of people watching, with YouTube creators who unfortunately don't know what they're talking about and who have seen the News Nation interview with Xana's mother. And they've run with it, and they're now saying, you know, there could be a mistrial because of this. And, you know, Brian Kohberger might be able to appeal on the grounds that his counsel were incompetent or there was a conflict. It's not going to happen. And what bugs me with this is I want to drink alcohol, and it's 10:30 a.m. This is iced coffee. Not Bailey's, but it should be. This is making me want to drink this case, and I can't not call this stuff out, or at least put some information out there that somebody might stumble across and go, oh, okay, fair enough. That's interesting. A lawyer is saying there's no conflict. Maybe I'll look at some other lawyers and see if they think there's a conflict. Go for it. Because I'd be very surprised if there are any lawyers on YouTube right now saying it's a conflict. Hey, Dan Plemick. Surviving the Survivor is going live on this very topic in 30 minutes. What, saying there's a conflict or saying there isn't? Oh, I don't know, Surviving the Survivor. That's an unusual name. But are they declaring there's a conflict? Because most of the bigger channels, and by bigger, I mean the channels that get bigger audiences that all tune in and all believe what these YouTube creators are saying, is correct, and then they go out and spread that information, misinformation, in other channels, chats, and in comments underneath videos. And before you know it, there's this whole heap, once again, of BS out there. And these people are not doing their research. Like, listen to something and listen to it with a question mark and make a note of the things that you think might sound a bit wrong, and then go out and research that and listen to some other YouTube creators that might know a bit more about law. And I'm not an expert on it, but this is really pissing me off because I have been a public defender, not only at the start of my legal career, but in the job that I do now. And yeah, I won't even get 10 people watching me. And all I want to say is there's no conflict. The only person in this story that's broken, following News Nation's interview with Cara, which is unbelievably irresponsible reporting, the only person that could probably put up their hand and go, there's a conflict here and it bugs me, is Brian Koberger, not Cara. Anne Taylor is not Cara's lawyer. And we'll go into the reasons why. Yeah, I've got the News Nation story up, and I'm not sure if I want to show it or not. Do I want to put this crap on my platform? I mean, yeah, we're sending you lots of love again, Cement Trees. You'll get showered with love. It will, Dan. I mean, look, it is without a doubt the most horrific crime that's occurred in my lifetime. I can't think of anything worse, really. And actually, no. I can think of others that are worse now that I think of it. But in terms of since I've been on YouTube, this by far is a shocker. I didn't think a crime like this had happened in my lifetime. It's just hideous, and it will be discussed. But this channel focuses on calling out the irresponsible behavior of social media users, and it's not a sexy topic, and people don't want to know. They'd rather put on a YouTube channel and listen to an observer, because that's really, at the end of the day, all we are. We're observers. Take what they're saying and what they're speculating and what they're theorizing as factual and running with it. It's like wildfire. And I'm going to keep calling it out. It's an area of law, as many of you know, that I'm incredibly interested in and studying again. We're studying properly this year. But I'm going to keep talking about it because it is actually impacting criminal and civil trials. And you've got all these YouTubers right now live saying this conflict could end up, BK could end up walking free. No, actually what you're doing on your channel could actually lead to a guilty person walking free because there's no conflict. So why are you even running with this BS? And why are you feeding it to your subscribers who are going to go out and spread it in chats and in comments, like I was saying, on numerous social media platforms? Someone guilty will walk free one day and they will commit another crime. And are any of you going to put your hands up and go, that was my fault? No, but it will be. I have no doubt about it at all. Two points I don't like about the interview. One, there's a gag order on the families. AB is fully aware. Correct, although I doubt Cara is fully aware either. Not that that is a good thing, but it would probably excuse her or exempt her from that interview without there being any ramifications. This is someone with outstanding warrants, by the way, who didn't rock up to court in December. So, interesting. She won't rock up to court, but she will do a media interview. Like, I don't want to be judgy in this one, but it's really hard not to with some of it. But yeah, if there are any ramifications for her speaking out when there is a gag order in place, I think on this basis that she isn't aware of it would actually be an okay defence once, but not again. Secondly, it doesn't sit well that Anne Taylor is Cara's power of attorney, but that's not the case. Let's talk about that. The power of attorney that was granted to the public defender, and Anne Taylor is part of that public defender's office, but it's highly unlikely a senior lawyer such as Ann Taylor would have been representing Cara personally. The only person who's indicating that she was personally represented is actually Cara. But the power of attorney was about her going into rehab. That was it. It's not power of attorney over everything she does in her life. It's not power of attorney taking care of all of her financial matters. It was literally, you have to, in that particular type of proceeding, I guess, because I've never heard of it happening in Australia. Normally the court orders rehab and that's just it, off you go. But from what the little bit of bouncing around that I've done is that these power of attorneys are granted to ensure that and to assist with the public defender's office assisting with that person going off to rehab. That's it. But it's still not even verified that Anne even appeared on behalf of Cara at any point in time in court. She's part of the public defender's office, and it's on record that a public defender was appointed to Cara's cases or matters, but it doesn't name who it was. And again, like in my role as a public defender, I'm considered a junior solicitor. The principal solicitor is my boss. She's not going to go off and do the minor matters that our office deals with. I am, or one of my colleagues. And it would be exactly the same in the public defender's office in Idaho. So yeah, another mistruth, that whole power of attorney thing. It's nothing to do with her having some ongoing involvement in Cara's life at all. It was to do with going off to rehab, and that's even if it was Anne who appeared in court on that occasion. And I've actually got on Twitter, let's show this, because don't just take my word for it. It is getting cray-cray by the minute, Miss K. It is. And this is a problem. This misinformation bushfire is out of control and people aren't stopping it. And you have a channel like me that just sort of goes, can we just look at the other side of this? No one rocks up. I'm sorry. 5 of you have, and I love having you all here. But people don't want to hear the truth. It's not sensational. It doesn't draw crowds in. If I'd put a heading that said, wow, talk about a conflict of interest, this case is going to fall over, I'd probably have 80,000 people watching me. Well, maybe 18, I don't know. But talking facts and being a realist and being able to play devil's advocate and look at more than one side of every story and doing your research before you go live and all that sort of stuff, it's just not sexy. You can tell from the fact that very few people roll into my life. I get the same groovers every time, which I love. You guys are all amazing, and this channel would be nothing without you. But why aren't some of these people that are in other chats with 400 all just buying into it? Why isn't there someone in that chat going, I might just go and see if there's another side to this? And I might go and see if there's a lawyer talking about it or someone who works in the legal profession, maybe a retired judge, even a prosecutor. I might go and see what they have to say about it as well. And then I might make up my mind. But they're not doing that. And this is what's bugging me. That's why I want to become a drunk. Iced coffee it is today. Yeah, I haven't actually had time to look into that. I've heard people mentioning it, but I don't know much about that, Dan. I mean, look, there's interesting stuff out there, but, you know, if I see one more person going, everyone that's calling us out, we're allowed to speculate, I'm going to lose my mind. Speculate all you want, but stick to the facts we know. Because as soon as you speculate outside of those facts, and then down the track facts come out and it's proven your speculation was a load of BS, was it worth it? Flogging that dead horse and spreading the word? Like, look at the jacks that were accused of being the killers. As soon as Brian's arrested, how many people put their hands up and went, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. I've just been scathing and unrelenting and saying, without a doubt, this person did it, even though we only know 5% of what the cops know. And then someone's arrested, someone completely different, and they're all straight onto the whole, oh, isn't he an evil bastard, blah, 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 blah. I knew all along it wasn't anyone to do with the kids. No, you know you didn't. Literally 24 hours ago, you were saying that Jack D was the killer, saying it as fact. It's, it's frustrating me. Can you tell? I'm going to wash it all off me when I go for a swim shortly. Maybe other star. Good to see you, Groover. Yeah, we're not sexy on this channel because we talk about the facts. Don't go bringing logic into it. You're right. I shouldn't. Casper, g'day. Casper, please don't ever consider Zavgirl a great source of accurate information again. For the love of all things holy. And if you're suffering from an Australia Day hangover, I'll go easy on you. But I hope you know the whole Mad Greek thing got debunked very quickly. Zav didn't come out after that irresponsible live and say she got another thing wrong, though, did she? Yeah, Ashley Badfield. And that's why I don't know if I want to play it because will my computer lose its screen because I put my fist through it? Possibly. The way they've been reporting on this is so bad. They are pitching to the sleuths and the sleuths are lapping it up. It's an absolute diabolical mess. And Brian could walk free. And it could be because of something that happens on social media or through the media. And they don't care because they want the juicy. They want the juicy gossip. They want the sensationalistic stuff. They want the excitement and the drama. This is real life. People were murdered. They lost their lives. It's a criminal story. Somebody killed 4 kids, basically. That's what this is about. So all the gossip and sensationalism and everything, it doesn't have any role to play in this at all. This is a story about someone who's suspected of doing it, and it's about the prosecutors building a case to prove that he did and the defense building a case to prove he didn't. That's it. All this other stuff that's going on all over YouTube and drawing in the crowds, and the crowds are getting bigger by the week, none of it has anything to do with this. It has nothing to do with the course of justice. It has nothing to do with justice for the victims either. Yeah, I've listened to it and I kind of want to react to it because I'd like to point out, no, I don't have any Baileys. Hey, I saw an ad the other day that there's now like a vanilla milkshake Baileys that's come out, but it's not in Australia yet. I'd give that a crack. Yes, please. Don't start me. Hey, Jen Lee, good to see you. See, the classy, look at it. I've got the classiest chat on YouTube right now. There's 8 of you amazing people hanging out. Well, but the preliminary hearing isn't the end of it. And the preliminary hearing, it's pretty likely already that probable cause is going to be found. Like, don't be expecting Brian Kohberger to win the preliminary hearing. But I don't think people understand that either. And then the trial could be another 2 years after that. I mean, I think because it's high profile and it's also in a jurisdiction that probably isn't overloaded with cases, it could get heard sooner rather than later. But if this had happened at a university in New York, you'd be looking at 2 or 3 years before the trial. Yep, they have, Jen, and I'm gutted because there's no conflict. And even if there is, and it's a very big stretch if there is, the only person who should be concerned about it is actually Brian Kohberger, not Cara Kernodle or Cara Northington, depending on how you want to refer to her. It's Brian who gets to say if it's a problem or not. And also, trust me, if it was a problem, the judge would have done something about it too. But all these bloody YouTube observers who I don't even know what they do in their daytime, what their jobs are, have got hundreds of people tuning in and everyone's going, oh my God, there's a conflict. It's the end of the world as we know it. He's going to walk free because of this. You reckon? No, he's not. The only person who could put their hand up and go, I'm a bit concerned about this, is Brian Kohberger. There's a Pavlova Baileys? Huh. all I keep thinking that all these people have lost their precious lives and these vultures are just looking for their super chats and super stickers and no facts, just gossip. Yeah. It's disgusting, isn't it, Scout? Yeah. The truth rarely makes the headlines. And that's why my channel will never be big. Because, I stick to the facts and the truth. Not sexy at all. My favorite is she was betrayed. She wasn't. Hi, Humanimal. Humanimal just walks in and goes, some people are so thick. G'day, Groover. Happy Lunar New Year to you. Oh, it's just hideous. It's absolutely hideous. No, I can read typo, Scout. I'm good at it. You should know that from our messenger chats. I'm fluent in typo. Mine with Tory, but that's okay. Huh? Wait. So let me just show you something, all right? I'll show you something that's not Ashley Banfield generated. Let's go look at a court document relating to all this hoo-ha. All right? I'll get my face off the screen. So this is a big shout out to SF Investigate. So I follow on Twitter because SF is really quick at getting documents up, way quicker than me. I started off looking, searching for like outstanding arrest warrants for Cara and all that sort of stuff. And then I was like, just go to Twitter and jump on SF and the documents you're seeking will be there. Yeah, Cara wasn't turning up for her court dates. And not only that, there are arrest warrants for her. And Ashley Banfield's like, are you going to speak to the police about this? And she's like, yep, I am. No, you're not. You're on the run. You're not going to call the cops and go, hello. You remember back when the public defender's office was appointed on my matters because I was unable to get a private lawyer? Now, private lawyer, different scenario. If Cara had engaged a private lawyer, say Ann Taylor was her private lawyer, and she'd engaged her to represent her, and she was in an ongoing client-lawyer relationship. Yep, acting for Brian Koberger, huge conflict. Not the case with this at all. Anne works for the Public Defender's Office, and they were appointed to represent Cara. Let me just expand this a little bit, all right? So it's the 14th of December, although if you were in Australia, you'd be like, there isn't a 14th month. What's going on there? The 14th of December last year, an arraignment in the district court before judicial officers judicial officers McHugh, Barry, Wayman, and Scott. The hearing time was 10 a.m. The hearing was held. The parties present, the state of Idaho, so that's your prosecutor. You do hire the firm, but this is kind of what the deal is with the public defender too, Miss Kay. Like, Ann Taylor's part of the public defender's office. Do you reckon Ann Taylor appeared on the 14th of December for a drug-related matter, a minor drug-related matter, really, in the scheme of things, when she's a death penalty verified attorney from the PD office? No. Doubtful. It was a little junior. But anyway, the hearing was held. So you've got the parties present, the state of Idaho, and the prosecuting attorney, the Kootenai County prosecutor. Oh, sorry, I should have actually said, sorry. The state of Idaho is the DP, the PD, the public defender. And then you've got the prosecutor. Notice there's no names there. So how do we even know Ann Taylor appeared on that day on behalf of Cara? We don't. But looky. On the 14th, warrant, detaining order issued by the bench because Cara didn't rock up. Now, the only thing, and I don't know, these court documents are not like the ones I work with, obviously. The only thing that might indicate that Anne did appear on occasion for Cara as a public defender, and numerous other PDs may have as well, is that on the 5th of January, there's substitution of counsel. That might indicate she may have been on the books for that particular court hearing and was taken off it. That's it. And I don't even know that for sure. That's my interpretation of it. And if you look at SF Investigates comment, Anne Taylor, Brian Koberger's lawyer, is the head of the Kootenai County Public Defender's Office. Saying she was Cara Knodl's lawyer is a huge stretch. She was assigned to her case. Well, she was, okay, she was assigned, but never met her because Cara didn't show up. It's literally nothing. Now, Cara's, I think, had 4 cases with a PD appointed. It's possible Anne may have met her. Maybe SF's wrong on that. But irrespective of that, this is a very different relationship to when you have a private lawyer representing you. And Anne Taylor is the newest victim. I was going to do a live about the Mad Greek stuff because they're victims too, but now this has popped up. But Anne Taylor didn't need Cara Knodl's consent to act for Brian Koberger. Now, the Public Defender's Office might have contacted or tried to contact Cara to tell her, but this is a woman who's on the run with outstanding arrest warrants, may not have been up for taking any calls, may not have a number that anyone knows to contact her on. You could explain that away. Or it could have just been really busy office. She didn't rock up in December and didn't meet her. Why would you contact her? Why would you? When you're a flat chat, busy attorney, are you really going to prioritise someone that you were appointed to in December who didn't show up for court for an arraignment? Probably not. We do need the whole record to know for sure. But at least we're looking at some of the court documents rather than Ashley Banfield, right? I think she's not so worried about Anne. She wasn't worried about anyone representing her. Heck, she didn't even represent herself. Well, she didn't even bother rocking up. Okay, back to the power of attorney claims. Look, this is something that's a bit new to me because it doesn't happen here, at least not that I'm aware of. Like in Australia, if a judge orders a person to go to rehab, then the wheels in motion just automatically happen. The legal representative isn't given power of attorney to organise that and make it happen. But that is essentially, and Cara even said it in the interview with Ashley, but everyone's skipping over that bit. Cara even said the power of attorney was regarding her going to rehab. The PD office is who was initially assigned, I think, then Anne was officially appointed in January at Koberger's first appearance in Idaho. And that would be because of the death penalty. What's the word? That she's qualified to take on death penalty cases. Hey, Kangaroo. But yeah, Cara actually says in the interview, I don't know why people are skimming over it. Now, there's a few more court documents I can show you too. Oops. Let's bring this one up. So this is the evidence about Cara failing to appear in December. These are the 2 possible charges. And she's wanted for these 2 charges. The warrant was issued, and that's what she's wanted for, because she didn't rock up. She wasn't actively represented by Ann Taylor. She was, the arrest warrant was issued for FTA, failing to appear. Wasn't actively represented by Ann Taylor, only her office, and Cara hadn't even been arraigned. Absolutely, under zero obligation, except to Brian Koberger. In which case, she would say, hey, in December, there was a woman on the arraignment list with the same name as one of the victims that you're being accused of murdering. And I was appointed to her matter, but she didn't rock up to court and an arrest warrant was issued. Are you worried about that? By the way, I'm the only death penalty certified lawyer who can represent you. And Brian would be like, bring it on, Anne. Represent me. Like, I mean, to give you an example, if there's a conflict of interest in our office, and we've had a few of late because Tassie is a small place and I know a lot of people and so do my colleagues. So when we get a new client, we do a conflict check, and that includes an email that goes around to everyone with all the new clients for that day saying, do any of you have any personal connections to these new clients? And if so, do you want to declare a conflict? Now, there was a woman last year on the email list, and it wasn't so much her, but where she worked and my connections to that workplace. So she was in my diary, and the first thing I did when I called her was that I disclosed I had strong connections to several people, many people, in fact, in her workplace. And it was a site claim for bullying too. So, you know, I don't want to be speaking to her if I actually know who she's accusing of bullying her. I named the people that I knew there, and she repeatedly said to each one, oh, no, they're lovely. No, they're lovely. And she said, and I'd be quite happy for you to be my lawyer on this matter. So I was. But last week, I had a really good friend of mine, and I don't do criminal law, by the way, just so you don't start thinking my friends are dodgy bastards, who has got a matter with us. And I declared that I wouldn't represent them because they're my friend. I know their story. I knew they were going to call us. I actually encouraged them to. But on paper, where I work is representing my friend, even though I'm not. There's another lawyer working on that file. But it will still say the organisation I work for is who's representing that person, even though within the organisation there is a direct conflict. Corrections have 3 beds, priority and detox here, direct referral. Yeah, you go straight from court, you're court ordered, off you go. But from what I gather, and the only information I know about this power of attorney came out of Cara Canodal's mouth, is that the power of attorney was regarding her going to rehab. That's it. It's not like this enduring power of attorney for the rest of Cara's life that Ann Taylor is in control of her financials and every decision that she makes and her will and all of that sort of stuff. And ultimately down the track possibly has the power to become a guardian as well. That's not what it was. Cara Canodal, if you're going to listen to that interview, then listen to that bit, because that's the interesting bit. Cara explains that that power of attorney was to do with her going off to rehab, full stop. That was it. And everyone's out there going, oh my God, Anne's her power of attorney. And no, Cara was meant to go to court in December. She didn't rock up, and an arrest warrant was put out for her. The power of attorney for the rehab may have been a previous matter, but again, it's a different relationship. It's not the same as a private lawyer at all. The public defender's office, there are other lawyers that can represent Cara if she does decide to appear back in court. But according to Cara in the interview as well, she's going to be speaking to the police about this. So I don't believe you because you're on the run. I don't think you're going to be calling the cops to file a complaint about this. And why aren't all these YouTubers talking about the judge not having an issue with this either? Just all these questions. Not enough iced coffee. I'm so glad there's a beautiful beach right there that after this live and whenever my water gets delivered, he said, in the morning, you got 55 minutes. Alex, where are you? I'll be dipping myself in there and washing all this grime off me. I keep getting so angry about this stuff. Bam Bam Banfield. Coates beds. I believe the day at the house with the defence team going over the crime scene, I personally believe that Ann Taylor was overseeing it in an official capacity as the person who runs the PDO. Could be, but I mean, this is all stuff that, I mean, you could be right, Jen, but this is all stuff we don't normally get informed about, and nor should we. It is hard to be represented when you don't appear. I think the power of attorney is that it was court ordered, so perhaps it's permission to report to the court on her behalf. She actually, well, I mean, I don't know how much of Kara's interview you can take as being factual, but Kara actually said it was about her going off to rehab. And at the moment, that's the only information we've got on it. Is it credible? I don't know. You tell me. Oh, regarding the rehab. But I think look, I mean, I might have to do some more research. I'll put a little note here to see what they're all about. But because our courts appoint rehab and the whole process just automatically kicks in, and they're often, unfortunately, detained until there's room for them in rehab, unless, like Miss Kay was saying, where she is, there's 3 beds. I know down here sometimes people are incarcerated in like the prison hospital until they can then be sent out to rehab, because our rehabs are full to overflowing, and we don't have many either. But yeah, I need to look into that. But I don't believe it's an enduring power of attorney that this sort of Anne's responsible, or the public defender's office is responsible for overseeing Kara and her rehab. I think it's more about making sure she gets into rehab. Or she could, well, yeah, she could access that information, because there would have to be some sort of privacy law regarding inpatients in rehab. So yeah, it could authorize her to speak on behalf of the client if the client's unable to appear in court because she's currently going through rehab, for example. But that's not the case with Kara. Kara's busy giving interviews to mainstream media, the channels that are feeding the sleuths. Yeah, HIPAA, exactly. That's the word. Thank you. I learned that during the Chris Watts case. HIPAA laws. All right, so what else has SF provided? I mean, there's the usual, people on here. Where are all the replies? I was reading replies under a channel that was talking about the Mad Greek stuff, and wow, gee, there's some angry people out there. So angry. Okay, so she was arrested on the 19th of November last year for 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance. And that was that court appearance in December. And that's when the warrants were issued, because she didn't rock up. I mean, there's more information on Twitter than there is on News Nation. Sorry, guys, but I know, I thought the same thing. Especially when Ashley Banfield says to her, are you upset about that? She said, I'm heartbroken. And I'm like, what? No, you're not. You're not. Even if it was your private lawyer, and then there's a conflict because they're now acting for the suspect who is being accused of murdering your child and 3 other people, and there's a conflict, you wouldn't be heartbroken. You'd be furious. But yeah, when Ashley said to her, you're going to speak to the cops, and she's like, yep. I was like, you so are not. You're on the run, lady. They're the last people you're going to call. You're not even going to call the public defender's office. Let's be honest. No, and look, even the information about her kids and everything, I mean, grain of salt, all of it. It was a very desperate interview by News Nation, but it got what they wanted, right? Mountains of people tuning in And now everyone's spreading it all over social media platforms, especially YouTube, and hundreds of people rolling in to participate in this conversation about how this conflict of interest that doesn't actually exist is going to essentially be the undoing of this matter. And Brian is going to walk free because of it. When in actual fact, it's all of this noise on YouTube and other social media platforms that the online sleuth community is generating that has the potential to let accused and guilty people walk free. She wanted to be involved. Oh, yeah. That's in Melbourne. Also, there are only very few that are approved, say, for court-ordered clients. In Melbourne, we were the only drug medical withdrawal unit approved. Wow. Wow. Yeah, the situation down here, I mean, we had a client recently who was ordered to rehab and spend a little bit of time at the prison hospital because they had to wait for a bed at the rehab. But they're in and they're like 3.5 months in. I think they've got another 4 months or 3 months. Oh, sorry, 2.5 months. It was a 6-month order. And it's looking really good. It's been really effective with this particular client, which is so good. Getting him back with his partner and children is the thought of that happening soon is a wonderful thing. Not me. I plan to discuss it if and when I had more factual information, like how it actually works. I'm not a fan of bandwagons. No. None of us are on this channel. But look how few people rock up because they all do love the bandwagon. It's sensationalistic. It's juicy gossip. It's scandalous. It's all the things that they want. And God damn it, if there isn't something new for them to devour, they'll create something new. And you've got mainstream media. I'm really sorry, but News Nation are just, I've been so irritated by the media reporting of this case. And I wish in hindsight, and I might still do it actually, I might go back and find some particular clips that I play like while I'm gardening and going for walks, and I just heckle them the whole time. I get really riled up about it. Same with the Mad Greek stuff. My goodness, that's fired me up. In fact, I think in the Cara Canodal interview, Ashley Banfield brings that up as well, even though, once again, Mad Greek have gone, nah, even if he did eat here, we wouldn't know. But everyone's like, he ate there twice. That's how he met them. There's the motive. And you've actually got the owners of the restaurant. You've got Jackie and her staff saying, nope, not as far as we know. And we're the restaurant you're all talking about. None of us recall it. And who's this former employee? Because I've rung every former employee and they're all saying it wasn't them. And we've all agreed as a team that we're putting this statement out because we want everyone to just leave us alone because we're grieving right now. We're missing our colleagues and staff and family members. That's how they referred to their staff. That Jackie woman's amazing. But why aren't people going live and playing that over and over? There's still people going live about he ate at the Mad Greek restaurant. Why aren't they going to the source? Some days I get really angry about it, and I was angry at the start of this live, and now I want to cry. I don't understand how human beings have just become so horrible and also so illogical and so irresponsible. And I can't imagine being in anyone's shoes when they've got a close connection to a murder victim and they need to grieve, and you've got all this online noise to deal with and people besmirching you and saying hideous things about you and taking things offline and harassing you, and your heart is smashed into a million pieces. And you've got all these people who don't know you, who didn't know the victims, who feel that they know more than the cops do, absolutely ripping you and the people you love to shreds day in, day out online, and also making your lives hell offline. And at the end of the day, all you want to do is be with the people that love that person and mend and heal together. and grieve with them and have moments of joy, remembering some funny stories and looking at photos and doing what people grieving do. But they've got all this additional shit they've got to deal with, and it's vicious shit. And it's vile. And it just, I can't, how did people become like this? Like how do people look at their reflection at the end of the day after being an online harasser? Because that's pretty much what they are. How do they look at their reflection at the end of the day when they're brushing their teeth and like what they see? And oh my God, if it happened to them, if it was someone they loved and they were copying all of this, we wouldn't hear the end of it. They'd be on every channel going, I'm being harassed and abused and people are lying about me and my family. You watch, it's going to happen. It'll happen. But because it's someone they didn't know, they don't give a shit about the fact that there was a real human being with a life and people who adored them who are grieving now. Like, this isn't entertainment. It's not like, go and watch CSI or fuck, I've just started rewatching Ally McBeal and I'm loving it. It was such a huge part of my life. Back when I was studying law, we all used to gather. We'd change houses each week and we'd all gather and nobody was allowed to ring. If Ally McBeal was on, we were not answering the rotary dial phone. Same with Twin Peaks, which I've also found on my telly. I tried to watch some of it the other night and my telly's a piece of shit and I've got to buy a new one. But I mean, it is a new one, but it's a piece of shit new one. But yeah, this isn't entertainment. Like, it's interesting, it's fascinating, it's terrifying. But these people are rolling into YouTube every day going, ready for my day's entertainment. Let's see who I can be horrible about today. Oh, here's a channel being horrible about people. I'll go and watch them. These are my peeps. And there's just hundreds of them. Thousands, tens of thousands, all rolling in, creating new victims every day. Isn't it bad enough there's already 4 victims of a very horrific, brutal crime? Isn't that bad enough for you? Why add more people to the list? And now I can't even keep track of how many people have been made victims in this. But Ann Taylor's the newest one. And people are going to go at her offline. I have no doubt about it. She's very easy to locate and contact. You can already picture the sort of crap that her staff are filtering through, and they're probably building a big fat file of it and handing each, at the end of the day, a digital file. Here you go, cops, add this to the file. Imagine the stuff that's been sent to the public defender's office at the moment. But and they're an understaffed legal service that do unbelievable work. They're underpaid. She's not on some gazillionaire's wage. That's where the private lawyers make their money. In the commercial realm, private lawyers in the criminal realm don't make money either. I never did. I was told from the start, if you want to make money, this is not the area of law to work in. And I was like, no, I'm all about justice. I want to represent people in court who have been charged with criminal offences. They deserve a fair trial, and I want to be the person that sees that they get that. That was what drove me to do Crim. No, I didn't want to do money. I mean, if I wanted to make money, I would have gone into family law or commercial law. I think it's at Paramount Plus. All right, I've got to read some of the comments because I just went on a rant and I was teary and it's fake. What's fake? Kangaroo. The bandwagon. I agree the bandwagon needs a gag order. Absolutely. This is why I need to keep up with my chat because now I haven't clueless what half of these comments are about. I'm sorry, guys. Some people so desperately need there to be a connection between Koberger and the victims, even though the truth is there probably wasn't, as if a connection would make this crime make sense. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know, you don't need a motive to prove a case at the end of the day. I mean, people want the motive because then the motive might give them the answer to why. But even when you do have a motive, the why doesn't get answered because it's like, okay, well, that was your motive, but you didn't need to kill them. You could have got a divorce. Or you could have just been a normal person and handled rejection and moved on. Like the why is never adequately answered, ever. Do you think the victims of the families of the victims of the Monterey shooting are ever going to be given information that makes them go, okay, let's see why he shot and killed my loved one? Of course they're not. Exactly, they can give it but not take it. Yeah, where are the receipts? Where are the receipts? Yeah, and that's why I refuse to call it true crime anymore, because it's not. This new generation have completely obliterated what OG true crime was all about, which was, here are the facts. Back in the day, back in the good old days where those of us true crime fans had no option but to become members of Web Sleuths. I'm still a verified attorney on there. I need to go back. Actually, I chat to Trish sometimes when she's live. I need to go back there and get involved again, because it's still the same on Web Sleuths, on the website. You veer off from the facts. It's okay to use common sense. So, I don't know, if there's a half-eaten plate of steak left on the table, but there's nothing factual about who ate it or whatever, but you could go, well, and the person's shot dead sitting at the table, you go, well, they were halfway through eating a steak. Like, that kind of unverified fact was fine. But if you veered off course a little bit, you got reeled back in and reminded, or you'd be asked to verify where that information had come from. And if you couldn't, then you'd be told, please stop doing that. And if you were really irritating, and the bulk of people on YouTube, on those bigger channels, flooding every day for entertainment, the majority of those people would have been blocked on the Web Sleuths website within 24 hours of arriving there. And I miss that. I really miss that healthy OG true crime. Here are the facts that we know. We also know we know 5% of the facts. So there's a shitload of things out there that could explain all the questions you've all got. Like all these YouTubers that keep going, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. No, because you don't know 95% of it. So stop trying to make the tiny bit that you know makes sense. Like, for example, the surviving housemate. My God, I have to do a live about her. I wish I could get on a plane and fly to America and find her and just give her a hug. That girl does have a gag order, and she is getting absolutely reamed online, and she can't even defend herself, even if she wanted to. The little bit of info that was in the probable cause affidavit, taken from the statements that she gave the cops, was put in probable cause because it was an ID of the perpetrator. That's why it was in there. It's a fraction of what she told the cops. And right from the start, even though they didn't clear anyone, right from the start, they said, we don't think she has anything to do with this. Just like they said about Jax. Like, this girl is being still so heavily scrutinized, and all these creators, something isn't adding up. Yeah, it's not adding up because you've got 5% of the info. Like, make a list of questions, and as facts come out, see if any of them are answered. But don't take the tiny bit you've got right now and try to make that make sense, because it's not going to. And if you don't realize that the only reason that's even mentioned in the probable cause affidavit is because of the positive idea of someone walking out of the house. That's the only reason it's in there. And I wish to God they'd used different wording or hadn't quoted her. Because I want to do a live about the difference between frozen in shock and frozen in fear. Because everyone on YouTube's running with the frozen in fear. And then she went inside and locked her door. She was frozen in shock. She was about to come out of a room and some dude's walking down the house, down the hallway that she doesn't know. She froze in shock. Like, oh, wasn't expecting there to be some dude walking out. That's it. That's the way I read it. But no, she was terrified. She was mortified. She should have called 911 immediately. I don't read it that she was mortified or terrified. I read that she was walking out of a room and there's this dude walking out that she wasn't expecting, and she froze in shock. Well, there's a dude. And off he went. She didn't want to engage with the guy. That's how I read it. Well, I read it both ways, and I go, which one makes more sense? I wasn't expecting some dude to be walking out of the house right now as I came out of my room. Anyway, I can't go down that road because, my God, I have so much to say about that. And I will play a YouTuber who is, and I can choose one. I haven't picked one in particular yet. I could choose one of 300 probably that's live, just going, something doesn't add up. She had something to do with it. No. No, if you look at both sides and look at which one was the more logical one on the little bit of info we've got. Now, like I said, I say all the time, if more information comes out and I'm proven to be wrong, fine. Happy for that to happen. Well, not happy. I don't want her to be involved at all. But if a fact comes out that does say, okay, I was wrong on that, I'll admit it. But I'm not going to speculate with the tiny bit of information we've got, other than just going, well, to me, that's just, there's a dude walking out, she froze, that's it. I've said this before on my channel. When, before the time they actually called the cops, would anyone have called the cops? Taking into account their ages, it was Saturday night, it was 4 a.m. They lived in a house with people coming and going all the time. There was always noise because people were coming and going at different hours and so on. The first time they called the cops was the first time that it was the right time to call the cops. Because even not being able to get into their rooms, and maybe they went outside, they looked in, they're like, shit, is that someone on the floor? Who knows? But calling your friends to come around and see if they can open the door. And people keep saying that Ethan's brother was one of the ones that rocked up. Like, maybe he knew the code to the door. Look, who knows? But to me, when the cops were called is when, with that whole scenario, is when the cops should have been called. But millions of channels, well, not millions, hundreds of channels will keep going live, crucifying her. Something isn't adding up. Yeah, you're missing a heap of facts. Write a list of questions and wait for the facts to come out and see if they're answered. Okay, let's go live about this. It's just answered this question. That's how I'd be doing it. But hey, I'm a tiny channel that will never grow because people don't like reasonable people on YouTube. They don't like realistic people. They don't like reasonable people. And they don't like people who stick to the facts. And it sucks because I think I can be entertaining. I do think I can be quite funny at times. Sometimes I'm terribly unfunny as well. But if you want entertainment, come and get it while we talk about the facts. Please. Anyway, show me the facts, people. Where's my water guy? Come on. I'm not sitting here all day waiting for water to be delivered. I think I'll just text him and say, can I go to the beach? And if you deliver while I'm at the beach, the tank's under my house. See ya. Yeah, I think it's Paramount Plus that is streaming it because I had to do a factory reset on my TV because it's shit. And I had to log back in and I saw it. Pretty sure that's where I saw it. All the Ally McBeal lovers too. Or putting their salacious, uneducated, misinformed, disinformed opinions. Well said, humanimal. You and I both agree the only person who knows the motive is Koberger, and he's not, well, no, he's going to say, I'm innocent, wasn't me. I want to be exonerated. We already know what he's going to say. Even after the prelim in June, he'll be like, yeah, well, I was expecting that. I mean, you've charged me and arrested me for this. Let's get on with the trial. Yeah, I think Ann Taylor's probably getting harassed. It's crime. True grime. I do love true grime. True grime. But yeah, it's so hard to call myself someone who loves true crime these days because everyone's like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're a sleuth. Fuck off. That bloody show, the TV show my niece recommended because it's about true crime. Bless her. I love it to bits. But she doesn't understand the nuances of true crime and how it's been absolutely destroyed by the last couple of years mainly the last couple of years. I think Kylie Rodney was when it was like, okay, now this is getting really out of hand for me, at least as an observer. And Idaho murders, it's just gone like, whoa, boom. But Jemima recommended the show with Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. Is it Only Murders in the Building? Something like that. And she's like, oh, Tora, I'm loving it. You've got to watch it. You're going to love it. And normally the things that Jemima suggests I watch, we've got very similar tastes. And she loves true crime as well, bless. But they're three people that listen to true crime podcasts living in an apartment building and there's a murder. And what do? They sleuth it. And I couldn't watch it because I'm like, no, that's the shit I'm calling out on YouTube every day. Bless you, man, but no, pin pulled. How dare they call that a true crime show? It's a sleuth show. Yeah, websites. Well, yeah, exactly. Second post. I've got to go down to the bottom. Hang on, guys. I'm missing comments. Well, yeah, Chris once was Burko, but it was more Burko within the true crime community, in my view. And then as the years have gone on, the people that keep saying he didn't do it and stuff, that, yeah, crazy. But the difference with that was we had a guilty plea and he got locked away. So the risk of this sort of stuff is pretty minimal. It's more like, look at all these idiots who just are still crapping on about it, and look at all the idiots that are still rolling in to listen to people crapping on about it. That was more entertaining or amusing to me than now is not at all. It was Paramount Plus. Woo! Thanks, Miss K. I do appreciate. We've got to have 50% of the people watching have. Oh, look, I've got more thumbs than people watching. Hey, Ruth. I'm on fire. Yeah, exactly. What uni student's out cold after a hard Saturday night on the grog doesn't get up? Exactly. I'm impressed she was awake before midday, to be honest. Not a popular opinion, though. Everyone else on the YouTubes wants her to be the villain. All right, I might just show a bit more of the tweeters because, like I said, there's more info on here than there is in that bloody News Nation. Like, if you want to just sort of see court documents and go, okay, interesting. But my point of this live is there's no conflict. This isn't something Cara can fight, even though Ashley asked her if she was going to, and she's like, yes. She can't fight this. She had a lawyer put on her case in December for an arraignment for 2 drug possession charges, and she didn't rock up, and an arrest warrant was issued. The end. It's very different to a private lawyer relationship. The next time that matter was in court, I mean, Anne may have been the only one on duty or whatever. That's how she ended up, unfortunately, having to do arraignments because she's way too senior, in my opinion. But, you know, she might have had a trial or something on, and she's like, oh, there's only 2 arraignments today. I can do them before my trial. Who knows? We don't know. But yeah, it's quite likely if Cara had rocked up for the arraignment and then the matter had been listed in January, that someone else from the public defender's office might have been put on that case. Not because of the Brian Koberger stuff, that's just the way it is when you're a public defender. It's just the way it is. So, yeah. But no, she doesn't get to complain about it or fight it. Like I said, the only person that really has got a right to say, I'm a bit bothered by this, is Brian Koberger, because she is now representing him. And if she would have said to him, you know, I had this bloody thing in December, I had an arraignment, the woman didn't rock up, her name's Canodal, don't even know if they're connected or not, but could be related to one of the victims you're accused of killing. Does it bother you that I'm representing you? Did she rock up to court? No, I've never met her. Okay, well, no, it doesn't bother me at all. All right, cool. It didn't bother the judge either, apparently. Are you doing a live, gorgeous? I'll listen to you when I go to the beach. You want to watch Twin Peaks? That first episode's worth it. I can quote the first episode. I can quote a lot of Twin Peaks, but that first episode, verbatim, wrapped in plastic. No, it's not like she bailed mid-trial or mid-plead. Exactly. You love the log lady. Oh, you're covering a murder. Right. Another. Gosh, his team's impressive. Hey. Well, actually, let me see what you think of that. Yeah, Anne was just asked to do it, basically, and Cara was a no-show. But yeah, for those channels that are implying that Brian Coburg is going to walk free because of the conflict, there is no conflict. The end. I mean, good luck, Groovers, if you're out and about and you stumble across creators saying there is. Good luck trying to educate them. It doesn't work. If I call anything out in chats, I usually get, it's happened twice now. So when I say usually, twice, I get the, oh, you're just angry and here to flog your podcast. I'm like, well, my channel is where I uploaded episodes of my podcast. That's why it's got the word podcast. And I'm not in here going, come over to my channel and hit the like and subscribe button, people. It's just the name of my channel. And why are you so offended by it, Fluffy Twinkle Bum? Because your name's kind of weird too. Are you promoting your Fluffy Twinkle Bum? But yeah, oh, I know, it was intense, wasn't it, Bea? But they're really good. They are really good. It's it's a shame with time zones, and how are you able to watch it, Jen, without getting struck by the power of love by the channels that are streaming it? I wish. Hang on a sec. Someone at the door. Hi. Oh, thank you. You just leave that. Thank you very much. Sorry, Grievers. I don't think anyone could have been ready for that detail. But yeah, I'm following it. I mean, I'm not going to be covering it because I do want to go back to Antifreeze guy with all the penis jokes at some point. But it's so good. It's so good to be listening to a trial where the prosecutors and the defense, and I thought the prosecution did a really good opening until the defense got up, and then I was like, whoa, okay. It's pretty powerful stuff. Very clever, because the jury, are not going to forget that opening. But how refreshing to have like a good matchup of lawyers, unlike Depp and Heard, you know? Although, I mean, don't get me wrong, Elaine, to this day, my favourite stand-up comedian from 2021, without a doubt. In fact, Amber's entire team, but Elaine in particular. Great comedians. They should go on a world tour. But yeah, it's riveting listening because the attorneys, so far, all of them are just so good at what they do, which is kind of like, it's kind of porn for lawyers watching trials like that one. It's like, oh, this is really good. This is great. Impressive stuff. Oh, I know, the PPs, isn't it brilliant? Yeah, okay. You do it after the day's ended. Excellent. And tons of commentary. Cool. I'll be putting you on, Griever. Yeah, what money really can buy. Poor Elaine, I know. Bless it. Oh, look, she was the wind beneath Amber's wings. So back to just some more stuff off the tweeters. There was an initial bond hearing after the arrest and it was held over to the district court. The initial bond hearing was a video appearance and then the arraignment was non-appearance. Oh, actually, let me put this up because this is kind of interesting too. I mean, SF's read all the court documents, and at least they're a bit more on top of it all. But I might have to call Water Dude in a second, say, I've got to go out. Are you able to do it without me here? I mean, he is, but I think the appeal answer was a record for the number of times where penis was written. It's quite a record. I just couldn't help myself when I was watching it. I was Shanna from our community asked me to react to it, and I mean it just came. See, now I've said came. The penis jokes just rolled off my tongue. Oh my God, get me off the screen. I should do some more tarot readings. They're fun. Except when people like Cement Shoes thought it was legitimate and I was using the Cards Against Humanity cards, and he's like, oh. He was expecting, you know. But they are fun to do. Yeah, well, Shanna I was driving into town for work and it was her birthday, and she said, oh my God, Tori, you've got to react to it. So I got through, well, mind you, though, the prosecutor, we've actually started calling her Brian Koberger's sister, which is so wrong. But I did pause it at one point. I was like, I can't stop looking at her bushy eyebrows. And then I think it might have even been Cement Shoes who said, I think she looks like him. Anyway, but she's terrible as well. Oh, she's woeful. I mean, bless, you know, it's a tough gig, but to be scrutinized by lawyers watching trials. But there's just so much good stuff happening in that one. It's a shame she's not a little bit more. You've got to be careful that you don't crack jokes and stuff in court, but you can get away with a little bit of mischief. The jury's eyes are probably all out on sticks. I don't know. I think it's a shame she's not a little bit more lively. Is that the right words? I don't know. I hope you know what I'm saying. I did roll off my tongue. Did you watch the penis thing today, Scout? I really got to catch up. I only got through the second part of the prosecution's opening statement. So I've still got to do. I'm way behind. But what I might do is listen to it on high speed and just timestamp the good bits and just. Although I don't know, reacting. Part of the fun of reacting is that it's, you know, spontaneous and it's happening live. It's not like I know what's coming. She's very rigid. It was, you called his late attorney Bilbo Baggins. We've got to give them all nicknames. No, they won't. There's a lot of juries at the moment that are hearing things they're never going to forget. Unfortunately, it's shocking, isn't it? All right, let me just see if there's anything else quickly on SF Investigates. I mean, George from 7E comes in and goes, you're wrong. And SF comes back with, you're super convincing. I mean, I do find the Twitters quite entertaining. And then George comes back with that. Even if she were assigned and did represent her, we're talking about Cara Canodal here, there still isn't a conflict. Correct. Mercy, right. You know what you're talking about. SF Investigates, 100% Mercy, right. The fact is that any family members of the victims that have been through the court system in Idaho have probably been, quote, represented by or prosecuted by someone attached to the case. Yep. She's listed on 3 family members' records as a former attorney, but it's, I imagine as head PD, she was assigned cases initially, yep, and then she reassigned them to attorneys within the office. Correct, Shannon. That's what happens in my current role and in my previous role as a PD working for Legal Aid South Australia. Initially, because you're senior and you're kind of the one running the show, all the cases get assigned and then they're distributed down. But like I said, sometimes they're already going to court for a trial or maybe a guilty, like a plea hearing, that sort of stuff. And they're like, well, I can do the arraignments because I'm down there anyway. And my trial doesn't start till 10 and the arraignments at 9, you know, sometimes that happens too. But it's not the same as a private attorney-client relationship at all. Oh, look, SF doesn't think she was representing low-level possession charges either. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, SF. Have only once seen a chief PD involved in a low-level crime. It was a DUI case where the state was trying to prove prior DUI for enhanced charges sentence. Okay, whatever. Don't care about that one. Oh, and there's Brian Enton tweeting about the scoop on News Nation, which was just shocking. This is true. I'll let you know if I think of any nicknames you can have, Jen. I won't get upset if you don't take them on, but I'm quite good at that sort of stuff. My dad was a classic because he was a member of Parliament, but he was also a QC, like he was a Queen's Counsel criminal lawyer, very good criminal lawyer. And the jury loved him. They loved him. I'm sure he got acquittals just because the jury just thought he was a hoot. But he used to walk in and do the worst things that you really shouldn't do as a lawyer. But because he was so charming and funny, everyone just let him do it because it was just him. They were like, oh, that's just Michael. But he'd walk in and say it loud enough so that, like, his junior counsel would already be sitting in the court and the jury's already been brought in. So the court's good to go and everyone's just waiting on my dad, who always had to do a dramatic entrance and was never berated for being late. And he'd come in with all this pomp and circumstance but loud enough for the jury to hear. He'd greet the prosecutor and he'd go, the Prince of Darkness. And then to the junior prosecutor, he'd go, and Tinkerbell. And I only know this story because the prosecutor, who's now a judge in Tasmania, she was the junior prosecutor at the time who told me the story. The dad addressed her in court as Tinkerbell, sitting next to the Prince of Darkness. And like the jury loved him. He got away with so much. And bless him too, he did more pro bono than anything else. We all suffered as a result of it. We used to have like a fridge full of crayfish. Now, don't get me wrong, crayfish are really expensive now. I'd love my fridge. I'd love to have the income to fill my fridge with crayfish. But back as kids, when Dad is getting paid in crayfish, and he'd open the fridge just wanting some little snack, and it was just wall-to-wall crayfish. Oh, shit. Have you guys seen Mystic Pizza when Julia Roberts opens her fridge and she's like, oh, because we're having lobster for dinner? Because her mum works down on the wharf cleaning all the lobster that the fishermen bring in. It was exactly the same as that. But yeah, so his clients would pay him in beer, crayfish, just things, gifts, because Dad would do it for free. Bless him. But his small children got a bit sick of eating crayfish every fucking day for most of their lives. No, don't get me wrong, I still love crayfish, but you don't want crayfish every day. It's rich. Yeah, Dad was out of control. I mean, I liked watching Dad in Parliament. He was highly entertaining, and it was back in the day when Australia had really good statesmen as politicians. There were a few women, and they were good stateswomen, but Question Time used to be fantastic to watch. The verbal insults were intelligent and clever and well timed, unlike now where it's just a shouting match. But Dad in court was way more entertaining for me. I used to love it. I used to love seeing him in action. Not true. She's been listed as Kara's attorney as far back as 2016. Well, thank you, Just Jen, with your peace sign and your yin and yang. Well, she's got a blue tick. I shouldn't make fun of Just Jen. She verified. But as SF investigates, it makes no difference. The murders didn't happen in 2016. She's a public defender. Has Jen come back? Has Just Jen? I was just replying to your statement of it being a stretch. pointing out the fact there is a history of representation back that far. That is all. Okay, Jen. Look, there is on paper, but looking at the minutes, her mom was failing to appear for each hearing before her plea sentence. Plus, conflict is only current clients. The case was adjudicated. There you go. I swear, says Heather, the next comment I read where someone says she purposefully picked up this case for the fame. Angry. There needs to be a How PD Officers Work 101 class required before some people can voice an opinion. Heather, I agree with you. I agree with you, Heather. But I'm trying to do one now on YouTube, and I have a small but enthusiastic crowd of 8. And one of them is me because I've got YouTube open. No one rocked up for class, Heather. But if you jump onto YouTube right now and type in Idaho murders conflict, there's a gazillion channels. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But there's channels all over the place that are live. Hang on, let me go to YouTube right now and I can read out some of them. Oh, Ickenmill's got a police chase going. He was saying he was going to stop doing them because there hadn't been any. He's got one. Okay, you're live in 8 minutes, Jen Lou. You might have already gone. We'll switch you on. I'll be ending this live. I need to call my water guy and just say, I've got to have a swim. Actually, I might eat some lunch now. I'll make my lunch while I'm listening to the lovely Jen. Live. Yep, we've got Surviving the Survivor with 1.2K watching. Xana's mum, I am heartbroken. Actually, there's a lot of cases on. There's Midnight Radio talking about it. Actually, I'm disappointed. I thought there would be more. Everyone's watching the Murdoch trial. And praise worship songs ever have got joyful piano worship happening right now. Well, there you go. There's fewer than I thought. Mind you, there's a heap of channels live right now. There could well be more. But even one about Molly Golightly's got 202 people watching, and they're slagging her off, of course. 11 billion. 11 billion and a half. Jen, go do your live. Scout, thank you for dropping her link. And yeah, there's no conflict. There's none. Stop listening to channels who are saying there is. If you go into a channel today and they say there's a conflict, you need to say you're an idiot and I'm unsubscribing. Goodbye. And then you'll get that this isn't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. It's so predictable, isn't it, too? And I love all the ones that go, I get so sick. If one more person tells me off for speculating and they get really angry about it, it's like, but nobody that's on the other side who's just being reasonable. None of us are like shouting at you guys. I could bring up a comment section under heaps of different YouTube channels and absolutely ream the people in the comments to shreds. And sometimes I do. It makes me feel good. But we're not out there attacking you. We just have a different opinion to you based on facts, not foolish speculation. That's basically the difference. But you guys are very upset. It's my mate Rog. I gotta go, Groovers. I'll see you all again. Wait a minute. I'll just silence him. I'll give him a bell back. Yes, Sonny, it's your mate Roger. She'll be like, Uncle Roger's coming to visit. There's tons talking about they don't have it in their titles. Yeah, exactly. Enjoy your live, Jen. I'm going to put you on. Sunny is just getting into her little igloo under the chair, which is the cutest thing ever. My sister gave Biscuit an igloo for Christmas. It was like 6 weeks before Biscuit died, because it's Biscuit's 2-year anniversary coming up in February. I had a really big cry about her last night, but Sunny loves it. So Biscuit was only just starting to get into it and show interest in it, but Sunny nearly every day. She doesn't go in there for long. She has like a little half-hour siesta, but she loves it. It's very cute. All right, I'm out of here, Groovers. Go over to Jen Lou's channel. I'm going to go over there too, and I'll call Roger back. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I don't know what I have to do to get more people tuning in to just consider the other side, but hopefully one day I'll wake up and there'll be, I don't know, 600 subscribers. We're heading there. We're getting there. And I'll be like, keep going, Tori, keep going. Even if it's one new subscriber a day right now, which it kind of is, I'll keep soldiering on. Until next time, everybody, don't get hit by, don't get struck by a smooth criminal. See you over in Jen Lou's.
DJ Gorbacha. He left the blood stains on the carpet. She ran underneath the table. He could see she was a neighbor. So she ran into the bedroom. She was struck down. It was her doom.